continue with lesson 2. We are discussing the factor affecting job site productivity. Job site. So the factor can be characterized by the labor characteristics. It can be characterized by, first it will be labor characteristics, or it can be project work condition, or it can be non-productive activities. Non-productive activities. So let me first start with what is the labor characteristics that we are talking about. So the first one is the labor characteristics. What are the factors that can be classified as affecting productivity from the characteristic of labor standpoint? Can list out very easily. The first one, as you can see, age. You are younger than me, you are more productive for sure. Skill, depends on skillful of the people for certain work, it will affect productivity. Experience, people doing the same work over and over, it tend to have more productivity. And then that is from the labor itself, but it can also from the supervisor. If you provide more leadership, more motivation, etc., people tend to be more productive, right? You have more motivation, reward, etc. So it also comes from leadership. That's why leadership is important, and also motivation, etc. Yes, so that is the labor characteristic. The second thing is project work condition. What are the work conditions that may affect the productivities of the project? So is a project work condition. There are many environmental factors that consider the project work condition. Let me list out a few here. As you can see, the first is, as you can see, the complexity or the size of the job. Job size. If you have bigger job, it tend to be more productive. Complexity. The project too complex, then it lower productivities. Accessibility. So if you have a rural project located in rural or in the urban, the accessibility may be different, and that imply for the productivities. So all of these have to be considered. You also have the, for example, many others, labor availability, and then we also have local climate. Like just think about at the noontime, you go out to work during the summer in Florida. So that affect our productivity. And there are many other. I can say, for example, if you want more, it can have a labor availability during the economic downturn, etc. or not. It will affect that one. Whether you utilize equipment properly. So equipment utilization. So those are the factors that classify as the project work conditions. And the last one before we move on to applied one problems, then we have non-productive activities. Non-productive. And that thing about is when we manage our time in daily life, right? Activity. You spend too many hours to study or work, but how much time you really or we really devote to the work, and that matter. So consider the non-productive time. So the first one that you can see, for not all the labor had to really contribute directly to the physical work of the project. There need to be indirect labor. It's necessary. For example, people maintain the housekeeping, etc. So that you can say that is indirect labor. Indirect labor, and that required to maintain the project progress. Project. Okay. So, or if you say the for the teaching, right, in the class, the faculty is like direct labor, and then you have supporting staff, IT service. All of that is indirect labor that have to require to make sure the smooth delivery of the class and the function of the university, etc. That require, but some are, if we don't manage properly, some non-productive activity tend to be negative impact to the work. For example, rework. If you do a team with have a high efficiency, a good team, then the rework tend to going down. Have you been experienced in the project? Some of your teammates give you the work, and then you have to work, return and work completely, or revise completely. So that rework, and that tend to be non-productive activities. Or temporarily stop it. Someone talk, and we stop, right? Work. Stoppage. And there are many other. For example, absentee time, early start, strike, etc. Right? Strike. There are many other non-productive activities, but I just list a few in there. So those are the concept of factor affecting job site productivities.